First movie I want to review is Star Trek, the 2009 one, a new one, of the new series, I guess. You know the one. And I was looking at this. I was looking for pictures, and I found this one. I was like, "That's a good promo shot for the thing, the movie." Because, it doesn't show any actors yet, so you still have plenty of time. You still had plenty of time to recast. You still had plenty of time. And I will say, of this new Star Trek series, I do like the idea. It's like, okay, it's your own thing. It's this alternate version, alternate reality of the Star Trek universe. I'm down with that. I'm okay with it. All right. But, it all kind of hinges on the characters. And the casting director, 9, let's be honest, 11, 12 or 13 stars when it comes to casting. I think everyone, except for one of them, was fantastic casting. Zoe Saldana as Uhura, number one, she's smoking hot, and I love everything she's in because she's smoking hot. What's his name? Judge Dredd as Henry McCoy, and McCoy was my favorite character. Oh, no, it wasn't. It's my second favorite character in these movies. All right, because Scotty's my man. I love Scotty as my man because Simon Pegg played Scotty, and Simon Pegg was good casting in that regard. Harold from Harold and Kumar playing Sulu, that good casting, and even that poor guy who died recently, who played Chekhov, played an excellent version of Chekhov. And the guy who played Spock was just fantastic. That was on the nose casting with that guy. He's that guy that played Silas in Heroes or whatever.
Yeah.
He is the only character I remember from that show because he was so fantastic in that show. And so that was excellent casting as Spock. However, you had plenty of time to pick someone other than Chris Pine for Captain James Tiberius Kirk. I really don't know why Chris Pine... Well, I know why. He's got real stunning blue eyes and blonde hair, and he's a good-looking guy. But, he is the most wooden-faced actor I've ever seen lately. In fact, he's not an actor, Shatner, for God's sakes, was a charming, soft-faced kind of guy. Not a chiseled, hard-jawed, hey, I look like a supermodel kind of guy. Shatner, as Kirk, was charming even to other men, even the women that he didn't want to bang on the ship. He would have the soft smile, he had a kind of gentle demeanor, even though he would take his shirt off and fight Gorn every now and then. All right? And Chris Pine does not capture any of the aspects of what I wanted Captain James Tiberius Kirk to be. I understand he's a little rebellious, and he starts out with the movie as him as a kid, and his dad, much better actor, who played his dad. Who was that? Was that Channing Tatum in the beginning that played his dad? Who was that?
You might be right.
Was it Channing Tatum? Let's see. Star Trek cast, 2009 cast. Let's look at it. Was it Channing Tatum? Carl Urban. See up. Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, you had a much better actor playing Kirk's dad. And you could have had Thor. And I would have been okay with that because Chris Hemsworth can act. And Chris, it may have been the writing, but I didn't like James Kirk because of these movies, the way Kirk was portrayed in these movies. I like Spock. I think Spock was done quite well. I think Scotty was done quite well. I think every single other character was done quite well except for James Tiberius Kirk. I wonder if Shatner ever made this particular rant. And here's another thing when it comes to Spock. After seeing this movie, this was the first time I ever thought maybe Spock is autistic and nobody notices because he's Vulcan, half Vulcan. You think that might be possible? Or maybe Vulcan is just a planet full of autistic people. Logic, definitely got to trust logic. Speaking of half Vulcans, I know Leonard Nimoy is a legend when it comes to the Star Trek universe. God rest his soul. All right. However, let's not kid ourselves. He was one trick pony. This is the only real thing he ever did. And I don't know why they had to crowbar him into these movies. All right. Constantly showing up saying, oh, I know all I said back then about the Prime Directive and we shouldn't change our destinies and stuff like that. But here's some very important information you're going to need for the plot so that you don't get killed by these fantastic, amazing, crazy villains that you're going to be fighting in these movies. Let's talk about the villain of this movie, Nero. You got a Star Trek The Next Generation villain coming to bringing it back into the past to fight these guys. That set of their ship and those characters, and those Romulan rebels and so forth, that's all straight from The Next Generation. And you got like the original series over here trying to fight them. All right? It was so weird. Eric Bana, what? He phoned that in. And that one scene, I remember like that where they first greet each other on the view screen. He just, hello. Was that in the script? I hope not. I hope that was improvised. Eric Bana. What was that movie I saw with him and Hannah? Ridiculous. Just because he played the Hulk doesn't mean the girl has Hulk DNA anyway.
Did you watch that movie?
Yeah.
That's not how she got her power.
I know. I don't want to argue. This one guy commented on my comment of that movie, and I don't want to argue with it. All right, here we are in the middle of a separate movie review, in the middle of the Star Trek movie review. And the argument about Hannah was like, I am sick and tired of a 90-pound soaking wet woman kicking the crap out of everybody, out killing everybody, snapping people's necks when you're in there. Well, she's like a genetic super soldier. What do you expect? And what I expect is if you're a genetic super soldier, you need to have height, bulk, weight, strength, muscles. You know what I'm talking about? You wouldn't be 90 pounds soaking wet, a frail little skinny girl snapping people's necks. We're not reviewing that movie. All right. So I hate the aspect of that Leonard Nimoy gets involved. I hated the villain, Nero. Because he was so mad at Spock that he wanted to like piss off as many Spocks as possible. I'm kind of surprised if he had all that time waiting for Spock to come through. He didn't send people out to like travel through alternate realities and time. Go and capture as many versions of Spock as you can, so he could stick them all on this planet and watch him, make him watch his planet get destroyed. Oh, spoiler! Vulcan gets destroyed. Wow, new direction this series is taking. Anyway. It's a Next Generation plot with the original series group. All right. Hey, why are the phasers like blasters now? They used to be just... Which, if you makes more sense when it comes to targeting. You would miss a lot. You wouldn't miss as often. It wouldn't waste energy. Because let's be honest, the phaser energy comes from somewhere. And if you follow the Star Trek universe, you know that comes from, the warp core and the impulse engines and so forth. Power is generated by the ship's engines. And you have a limited amount of power that you could generate every cycle, as they might say. So I don't understand why the phasers are like pew, 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 pew now and not just... Don't like that aspect. All right. I know I'm a Trekkie. I'm not saying I'm not. And a lot of what I love about Star Trek is how I hate on it. All right? 5 of 13 stars, the 2009 Star Trek movie. Terrible, terrible way to start this franchise, to reboot this. It was awful. And I remember being like, when I first saw it in theaters, it was like, oh, the overexposed thing. That looks kind of cool. Now it just likes horrible photography. Anyway.